To Fantasy Football in 5. Yet again, this will be our draft review and our last episode. If you haven't hit that one, then this is where you come in.
Yeah, thanks. If you haven't heard of our channel, hit the big red button below. Alright, so we're testing the limits of technology here. He's in Minnesota, I'm in Pennsylvania. But we're going to see how this goes for a while. So we just recently drafted last week, 10-team draft. We had pick number 7. It was probably the weirdest draft I've ever seen, right?
Definitely. It was definitely weird because of the way it played out.
Alright, so in round 1, we were all set to get LeSean McCoy, but then he was taken the pick before us. So we ended up getting Mike Evans here in round 1.
I really like Mike Evans because you have a really good quarterback in Jameis Winston throwing the ball, and that offense is going to be centered around him.
Definitely. And then in round 2, Taylor finally came around to him. Jay Ajayi for the Dolphins.
I really like Jay Ajayi here because he's going to get the bulk of the workload because Jay Cutler is his quarterback, and you're going to see a lot of a lot of red zone touches for him, especially.
And he plays the Jets twice a year, so that's always a bonus. And then finally in round 3, we were heavily deciding what to do here. Do we go running back or wide receiver? But we stuck with our gut and went running back here, and we took Todd Gurley.
I personally was kind of unsure about this because I got burnt by Todd Gurley a couple times, but Parker really was a big fan of him. And with Andrew Whitworth at left tackle, they are starting to make moves in the offseason with getting Sammy Watkins. That offense is coming around.
Definitely.
All right, so in round 5 here, this is where we got not round 5, excuse me, round 4. This is where we got our second receiver in T.Y. Hilton, who is still on the board.
Yeah, that's crazy that he was fallen. I think Yahoo gave us the biggest steal of the draft with T.Y. Hilton there. But if Andrew Luck doesn't play, he could be rough, because I saw something today where he's wide receiver number 44 for points per week without Andrew Luck playing. So you got to be careful there. We are going to be extremely careful playing him.
And because of that, we also got a wide receiver in round 5, which was Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, he has a totally different situation for quarterbacks. He's in Philly with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has the toughest quarterback schedule in all of the NFL. I think maybe 30th, so maybe not the toughest. But Alshon Jeffrey is going to be great in the red zone for us.
And then after Alshon Jeffrey in round 5, round 6, we went with our tight end and got Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, Taylor's a big fan of the Vikings and Kyle Rudolph, and I can't blame him, you know. He was a red zone monster last year. Great PPR asset. We are not in a PPR league. We wish we were. But Kyle Rudolph is a great tight end for us in round 6.
And then in round 7, we wanted to get that good bench running back, plug in and play. We got Mike Gillislee of the New England Patriots.
You know, Mike Gillislee going to play the role that LeGarrette Blount did last year. He's not going to score 18 touchdowns, but he could get at least 8 or 9, you know. And then he's going to be occasionally receiving balls out of the backfield. But look for him to be in and out of that offense quite a bit. In round 8, we got our 4th wide receiver of the draft. We got Tyrell Williams of the San Diego Chargers. He was really big last year in that offense.
I really like him because he has Philip Rivers throwing the ball, and he's going to be featured as the number 2 guy.
But if Keenan Allen gets hurt, he can be number 1. And then,
so he will be.
Yeah. Round 9, kind of straying from our strategy a little bit here, but we had to do it just because of how the draft was going. We had to take the Patriots defense. They're our number 1 defense for us.
Definitely. The Patriots defense was phenomenal last year, and we expect them to be very productive again this year because they haven't really lost anything.
And they have a terrible division offensively. Look at the Jets, the Bills. It's not looking good for them. Or it's not looking good for the other teams, I should say. And round 10, we had a guy fall to us who we really liked. We thought he might have to be taken in round 7, but we got Paul Perkins in round 10.
Yeah, Paul Perkins is going to probably be the starting running back out there in New York, and I am intrigued to see what they do with him. Now they have a lot of pass options, so there's going to be fewer men in the box for him to go against.
Yep. And then finally, the moment you've all been waiting for, we got a quarterback in round 11. We had to wait a long time.
Now, that is funny that you say that, though, because all the experts say to wait to draft a quarterback. So what can we say? We waited.
Yeah, and so we were all set to get Jameis Winston, hopefully in round 8. He was taking just a couple of picks before us. And then we were like, you know what? We're just going to wait a long time, grab a quarterback. We were all set to take Philip Rivers then. Rivers was taken. So Stafford, now the highest paid player in NFL history, is our starting quarterback.
All right, so starting off in round 12, this is where we got our final receiver. We got Adam Thielen, Minnesota Vikings PPR monster.
Yeah, and you told me he might play the slot a lot this year, so that might decrease his touchdown numbers, but his yardage could easily go way up.
And then in round 13, this is where we got our backup tight end, who could be trade bait, and Jack Doyle for the Indianapolis Colts.
Definitely, and depending on when Andrew Luck comes back, Jack Doyle could either be a hit or miss kind of guy, but we're just gonna keep him on our bench until we absolutely need him.
And then speaking of Andrew Luck, we were fortunate enough to get one of the top-ranked players in the draft in round 14. Mr. Andrew Luck fell to us. Now, yes, he's injured right now, but when he comes back, we already have a solid starter. So we are just seeing if he comes back in his normal self and puts up a lot of touchdowns.
And that is a high amount of trade bait there for Andrew Luck. If we need a receiver, if we need a running back, and people need a quarterback who's going to probably play well if he's healthy, that's perfect for us.
And then to finish off our round, we got the most important player of all, which is our kicker, duh. And that we got Lutz, excuse me.
Yeah, Will Lutz is the kicker for the Saints, and Saints have a high-powered offense, so they're going to be scoring the ball a lot. He was ranked pretty high by NFL.com. I think he was like their third overall kicker or something. I thought that was a bit ridiculous. But Will Lutz is our kicker, most important position. Alright, so our Week 1 matchup begins pretty early this week with the Chiefs and Patriots kickoff on Thursday night. We have the Patriots defense going for us, so we're hoping that they play really well. We're projected to lose, I think by 10 or so points to the guy who picked right ahead of us. He took LaShawn McCoy in round 1. But we're hoping that we're going to win, obviously.
And then, not only that, but I just want to point out that we alternate weeks throughout the season to see pretty much who ends up with the better fantasy, I guess, record at the end.
Yeah. So he'll pick the lineup for Week 1. I'll pick the lineup for Week 2, Week 3, and you get the idea. But it's going to be a lot of fun this year. That was Fantasy Football in 5. Thank you for watching. We did our fantasy news in 5 minutes, because honestly, who would want to watch a 30-minute video on this topic? So that was our draft overview. We really hope you like it and you like our team. Our next video is going to be our week-long strategy, so stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.